Welcome! Today we're going to talk about this amazing 2022 Tesla Model S Plaid. One absolutely stunning performance luxury sedan with a heavy emphasis on sport. With over 1,000 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 1.99 seconds. And when properly equipped, when you upgrade this to the track package, which is about $15,000, that unlocks a 200-mile top speed and amazing giant killing performance on the track. I actually was looking on YouTube, and when the track package was released, they had a Model S in the Nuremberg rig in Germany, and a guy who tested it before, the Plaid before it had the that track package, tested it again, and he was absolutely blown away. And not only was he blown away, but he was blowing away pretty much every other vehicle in the racetrack, Porsche 911s, all sorts of amazing sports cars. This thing is a serious performance machine. Even without the track pack, this thing is ridiculously fast, capable of doing a quarter mile in I think under 9 seconds, or right around 9 seconds at 160 miles an hour. We do really well with pre-owned Teslas at Infiniti of Tacoma. We have about 12 in stock. We sell about 8 to 10 pre-owned Teslas a month. With high gas prices, it's no wonder why electric vehicles are becoming so popular. And this is our third Model S Plaid. We do really well with Plaids, but the one thing about this Plaid that's different than the last two we had, this one has a regular steering wheel. In fact, it actually started its life out with a Yoke, and the previous owner, they opted to do a $700 upgrade where the Tesla model repair person comes in and they put in a regular steering wheel. Some people prefer the Yoke, some people prefer a regular steering wheel. I've driven both. I mean, I have no issue maneuvering around the lot parking with the Yoke. The thing I like about the Yoke is that this part's gone, so this part of the gauge cluster is not obstructed. You can see kind of the wheels kind of in its way. So it's nice having that unobstructed and having all that space. But this steering wheel is really nice. It's beautifully contoured, really nice fit and finish. So for me, I wouldn't be as concerned. I'd be happy to have any Tesla Model S Plaid with a Yoke or a regular wheel. For other people, they're a little bit more picky. It seems like people do like the regular steering wheel a lot too. The Yoke is polarizing for some. So I guess in that aspect, it's good that this one has it. So let's take a look at the software screen here. People always ask about the software. This one does not have full self-driving. A lot of people ask about FSD, but I think not everyone is really sure what the difference between, enhanced autopilot or autopilot or FSD is. So autopilot is pretty much has come standard on every Tesla since 2020. Before, autopilot was an option too. Autopilot is traffic aware cruise control, which allows the vehicle to brake and accelerate in its own lane and steer in its own lane. It can't do complicated things like navigate in city streets, change lanes or make left and right hand turns, but you can get a lot of mileage out of the regular autopilot in stop and go traffic or driving on the highway. We'll take this for a little spin and I'll show you how it works. So that's the software screen. So it's the 2022 Plaid. 7,235 miles. Another feature that they started rolling out in 2022 was a tilt screen. So a lot of people actually ask about that. So watch this. So when the Plaid first came out, it just had a fixed screen, pretty much like all the other Teslas that could only stay in one position. But now this has a tilt display. So you go like that, and you can see you can tilt the screen to your left, which is nice. Or maybe someone in the passenger seat might be watching Netflix or YouTube or wanting to play around with the screen. Well, you can also tilt it in the other direction. Pretty cool. Then you hit that button right there and it'll put it right back in the center. So the majority of the functionality, as you can see, is in this screen. Some people ridicule Teslas for having to go to all these different menus and screens to access and make changes, but it's like using an iPad. It's pretty well thought out, intuitive system. And the thing is that having the majority of the functionality in the screen is nice because things aren't tied to hard buttons. So they can do updates and they can change the display, they can change the configuration of things because it's pretty much infinitely configurable. This is a vehicle, as it gets older, in a lot of ways it gets better with the over-the-air updates. In fact, I have a Tesla 2, I have a Model 3. That was getting detailed, so I didn't have it this weekend. I was driving one of our 2015 Model S P85Ds, the old school Performance King. And that 2015 Model S, obviously, this is a lot more advanced, but that's a beautiful car in its own right. And the big reason why that one has stayed relevant is because that has benefited from the over-the-air update. So it doesn't have a cool advanced screen like this, but that screen, even that older screen with the updates and stuff, Tesla has kept it relevant. We have amazing backup cameras, so there's a few different ways to put this in reverse and drive in neutral. The car can intuitively do it. It can kind of see if there's something in front of you, so it'll put it in reverse automatically. It works pretty well. Or you can use this thing right here to swipe it forward or swipe it back to put it in reverse. And then there's neutral, or you can hit P to put in park. But on top of that, there we go. You have these buttons right here. There's your hazard light, so you can press these buttons right here, which are pretty straightforward, as you can see. So you have this huge screen, amazing parking camera. We also have blind spot cameras. That was a recent update in 2021. Teslas didn't have blind spot cameras, and one day Tesla came out with an over-the-air update, and all of a sudden you have blind spot cameras. That's the amazing thing about having this infinitely configurable screen. Let's keep this video rolling along. I can go on and on. I could talk for an hour about this car. Maybe even 2 hours. Beautiful color combination and white on black. We actually acquired this from Tesla. This is a Tesla trade-in. I actually buy a lot of Teslas from Tesla at the auction. Tesla sells a few used Teslas here and there, but the majority of the vehicles they take in trade, they sell at the auctions, being it off-brand cars or even Teslas. They're so focused on selling new cars, they don't really do that much pre-owned business. So this is a great addition. Someone probably just traded this in or turned their lease in and either got a new Tesla, or maybe their lease was over and they were just turning this in. So we have this nice front right here, which is more space. It's also a safety feature because you have all this space here to absorb crash energy in a frontal collision. What an absolutely beautiful design. I absolutely think the Model S is absolutely gorgeous. They haven't changed it radically. It still has the same basic look since it first came out in 2013, but they've updated it and they've made it look a lot better. I think it's an absolutely beautiful, timeless design. The Model S is kind of like an electric E-Class or 5 Series BMW. Have a nice, big, spacious interior, a lot more creature comforts than the more basic Model 3, which I have. We also have this screen back here for the climate control for the rear passengers. We have rear heated seats, and then on top of that, they can watch Netflix, and they can do all sorts of cool stuff. They can watch Netflix. They can alter the music stations, volume, and stuff like that right back here from this screen. Then we have this nice sunshade. You can easily remove this and it folds in the front, but if it gets too bright out, this sunshade definitely does a good job helping reduce the intensity of the sun. We have nice Alcantara suede cloth on the headliner, very nice interior. In the earlier years, people often ridiculed Teslas for having kind of bad fit and finish. Well, by 2022, I can tell you they've got it dialed. This thing has immaculate fit and finish. This also has an aftermarket wheel and tire package. These are Sportline wheels. We have Michelin Sport tires. Very good brand of tires, obviously. I've never heard of Sportline, but they look like they are forged aluminum, which means it's a pretty good quality wheel and tire. Wheel package. Obviously, we know the Michelins are good. So we have a cargo area protector. That's easily removable. You can fold the seats down. We have a cargo area, the cargo area cover right there, sorry. Cargo area protector here. And then under here, you have even more storage. Pretty nice. And I think you have more storage over there as well. And even though this has a profile of a sedan, having a lift back makes it more practical. You have more cargo space. I love that Plaid logo. Carbon fiber spoiler. Also has tinted windows all around. Look at this thing's absolutely beautiful. One amazing vehicle. Let's get behind the wheel and take it for a spin. All right, here we are. We're gonna take this Plaid out for a spin. One thing that's different about this Plaid versus the other two that we've had, aside from having a regular steering wheel, is it's wet and rainy outside. I was able to drive those other two Plaids that we've had in the dry. So with over 1,000 horsepower, let's see how this thing does in the wet. Before I was driving this, lucky me, I was driving a C8 Corvette. Don't worry, it wasn't that much fun to drive in rainy conditions like that. So in the C8 Corvette, it was pretty hampered performance-wise with how rainy it was. It did perform okay, but I definitely was not feeling comfortable pushing it hard. You know, with just rear-wheel drive, you get a little bit on the throttle and it start, you know, wagging a little bit, wagging the tail a little bit. With all-wheel drive, dual motors, a motor in the front and the motor in the back, and carbon motors wrapped in carbon sleeves, might I add, to help make that amazing over 1,000 horsepower. this thing's a little bit of a different story. So the nice thing about having all-wheel drive is obviously the performance is not going to be as good as the dry, but with all-wheel drive, it still definitely greatly improves your wet weather performance. This thing can still be a lot of fun and really fast, even in wet conditions like this. So the highest setting on the Model S is, well, there's a track mode. We're not going to do that. But there's the, and I think to unlock track mode, you actually need to have the performance package, that upgrade package for $15,000. But drag strip mode unlocks maximum acceleration. When you put the drag strip mode, you can hear the battery cooling system working on overdrive just to keep those batteries nice and happy and not getting too hot, greatly improving your performance. So Teslas have come a long way. I mentioned that I was driving that P85 over the weekend. That has launch mode, that has insane and insane plus mode. That was pre-ludicrous, pre-Plaid. But with I think combined output of about 500 or 600 horsepower, that Model S P85D was still amazing. It was with the launch mode, 0 to 60 in a little over 3 seconds. It was setting the world on fire. I mean, it was really kind of putting Tesla on the map as a performance brand, having a sedan, electric sedan, out accelerate, you know, Lamborghinis and Ferraris. But the thing with those older Model S's, once you do 1 or 2 high-speed runs, the battery would get really hot, and then, you know, it would definitely start, the battery would overheat, and your performance would be greatly reduced until the batteries had a chance to cool down again. The Model S Plaid with this beefed up cooling system, you're able to get a lot more high-speed runs, a lot more high-speed performance before the battery starts getting too hot and it starts limiting your performance. And even with the performance limited in this thing of over 1,000 horsepower, it's still ridiculously fast. This car is so fast it will make a lot of people uncomfortable. I mean, I guess they could make it even faster, but there is a limit to how much, you know, how much our human bodies can take. Eventually it comes to the point where it's not fun anymore, it's making me sick. And I think we're kind of almost getting to that point, if not already, with the Plaid. And we have a green light. So let's see how this thing accelerates in the wet. I'm not gonna go crazy, we're on public roads, but we'll see how it accelerates up to the speed limit. So here we go. And boom. A little bit of wheel slip. Oh, yeah. All right, definitely not as fast as the dry, but a little bit of wheel slip. But electric motors are able to modulate power actually more precisely than a gasoline engine, just the way electric motors are made. So the traction control systems are very nice in these Teslas because they modulate power beautifully. And then you have instant on-response throttle. Like if I hit the throttle right now, a little bit of wheel slip, but I just take right off. It's a lot of fun. This thing, this car is an absolute riot. So when you have a car with a gas engine, even a high performance car, right now if you mash on the throttle, there'll be a split second of hesitation when the vehicle has to think, okay, what gear am I going to put it in? The engine has to rev to the proper power band. But with an electric vehicle like this, you have instant throttle response. You have throttle response unlike any gas car you've ever driven. It just takes right off. Oh, and you know, I kind of argue over my friends about, you know, the amazingness about electric cars, but like, I like the sound of a gas car. That's your driving experience, or changing transmissions. That can be very fun too. But having 1,000 horsepower at your fingertips and instant insane throttle response, that's also a lot of fun too. Okay, so that's enough being silly. Let's talk about the amazing traffic aware cruise control, autopilot. A lot of people ask about FSD, but autopilot's pretty amazing too. So when the steering wheel is highlighted in gray, it means autopilot's available. I'm gonna hit that button right there. All right, so now the steering wheel is highlighted in blue. I have autopilot on. We have some curves and stuff right here, and it's handling it very nicely. And it's giving me what we call a nag. It's just telling me to put my hand in the wheel and pay attention. Then we have another curve up here. And that was just a little bit too much for the autopilot to handle. So full self-driving, you know, is basically navigates through city streets. It'll stop at stoplights, it'll stop at red lights, it will make left and right hand turns. Autopilot won't do that. Autopilot will brake and accelerate in its own lane, and just as long as there's vehicles stopping in front of you, like this car here, it will stop and it'll move with the flow of traffic. But that pretty much is it. But I can tell you, you can get a lot of mileage off, you know, if you're in stop and go traffic, if you're on the highway, you can get a lot of mileage out of this autopilot. You just get it pointed in the right direction, and you can roll on autopilot for sometimes 20 minutes, a half hour, if not longer. Even longer on long highway jogs. And obviously, you know, full self-driving is amazing. I have it in my car, but I'll tell you, it's not for everyone. It's very much in beta. It might be herky-jerky. It might do the worst thing at the worst time. You have to pay attention. You have to be ready to intervene, because right now it's in beta, so we're still training the software how to drive. We're helping improve it. So it's not ready for prime time yet. So if you're expecting a polished, perfect full self-driving system, you're not going to get that. So I would either look for autopilot or enhanced autopilot. This vehicle is ready. This vehicle has a full self-driving computer, so if you want to upgrade it to full self-driving, you want to upgrade it to enhanced autopilot, you can subscribe to it, pay a monthly fee, or you can buy it. You can certainly have it in this vehicle. But I tell a lot of people, just try the regular autopilot first, and you might think it's fine. You get it pointed in a road like this, the road, like I said, you can get a lot of mileage out of it. It's not going to take hairpin turns, but sometimes little things like this, it can do an okay job following these lines in the road. It actually does a lot of better job than a lot of other ADAS systems from other people. Obviously there's a stoplight here, so I have to put my foot in the brake. So this one is set up to hit, you have to hit this twice to activate the autopilot. There's something in the settings where you can actually just hit this once, so it's a little bit wonky. And I'm kind of getting used to it. But I can't tell you, so when I got on the highway today, I was driving that P85D, that has the old highway autopilot, but you know, just keeping the car centered on this lane in the highway, that can take a lot of mental stress, it's a lot of mental energy. So when I got in the highway, even in that older you know, model asked for the highway autopilot, once I got it activated and the car took over and it's steering in the lane and moving the flow of traffic, I could literally feel a whole weight of stress lifted off my shoulders, because the car is doing the work for me. I'm paying attention and keeping, you know, making sure we're ready to intervene, but just the car taking that workload of driving, I can't tell you how big a deal it is. And I felt a little rush of joy just knowing, I can relax a little bit on the highway with the autopilot. People really get spoiled by these systems. Me so much so that often, you know, if I have to run errands for work and I'm the used car manager, I can pretty much drive any vehicle I want. I'm going to take a vehicle with one of these amazing ADAS systems, usually autopilot, or my own vehicle with full self-driving. Well, hopefully this video was informative, regardless if you're looking for information on this particular S or just information in general. Thank you so much for taking the time. We're almost back at work. Have a wonderful day and hope to see you soon.